Hi, this is Nisha Sahdev, and keep watching Voice It Out podcast. Hi, it's Amrita, and I'm back with yet another episode of the Voice It Out podcast, and again with a very interesting guest. Now, this is a lady who I can, in inverted commas, say I've known for a very long time, but I'm so excited to have her as a guest on the podcast. So first of all, let me introduce Nisha Sahdev. Hello, Nisha. How are you?
Hello, so good to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. Months of planning. But I'm so glad that we finally did it and we're finally here. So basically, just to give a little introduction about Nisha, she has had a very vast career in the media, in Asian media particularly, in the UK. So she's worked with the likes of Satinder Sartaaj, RDB back in the day, I remember that so well. You've done recent work with Roach Killer.
Yep, so
you've managed Veena Malik.
Yeah.
So much stuff.
I know.
So much stuff, honestly. I feel like you're kind of a media great to me because you were there since I began in the media. Yeah, and to talk about what we're going to be talking about today, we can also give other titles to Nisha. She's a wife, she's a mum, she's recently become a restaurant owner, so I feel like you wear a lot of hats, don't you?
A lot of hats. And sometimes I forget which one I need to put on on what day. But yeah, I love it.
I think we probably put on multiple hats per day, or per hour, should I say.
All at the same time, sometimes. Sometimes I'm doing a school drop-off and I'm emailing a supplier for the restaurant, and then, you know, my PR clients are waiting, and then I have a full-time job, so I log in at 9:30 every day, so it's all manic, but I love it.
I actually didn't know you had a full-time job on top of all of that. Wow, I feel like I should call you Superwoman.
Or crazy. It's either or. But yeah, it's something I just love doing. I've always loved working, and you know that. It's been 20 years now in the industry.
Wow.
And I don't think I could not work. I think I could never have a dull day where I've got nothing to do.
You must have different days though, because I feel like in the kind of area that you work in, even with the restaurant, every day is different, right? Is that what kind of, in a way, might keep you going, do you think?
Yeah, so with the restaurant, it's a fairly new project that husband and I invested in, and I don't have to be there. So I just handle the back end. He's the face of the business. So, but there is still a lot of back end work and a lot of staff management and admin and paperwork to get through. So that doesn't take up most of my day. Mostly it is my full-time job, my PR, and my kids.
Wow. I remember when we first had a kind of very preliminary conversation, and you were talking about a lot of people once you kind of got married and had kids. You said that a lot of people thought you'd given up the PR, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why did they think that? Is that because you kind of maybe were a little bit kind of finding your feet maybe with your children, or why was that? Do you know why it was?
I wasn't quiet. I was always active on social media. Actually, the fact was I just completed Satinder Sartaaj's tour in May, and I gave birth in June. So we did the UK tour, which he does every 2 years, and I was heavily pregnant, and we were doing the radio interviews. So I was there. I didn't go anywhere, but I remember when I posted after having Jasmine for my next release, people were messaging me saying, "Good to have you back."
That's really weird.
And I was so confused, thinking, just because I've had a baby, you almost think, she's not going to work now. She's a mum.
I mean,
yeah. And I remember putting a post saying, I haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
I just finished a music tour in May with one of the biggest Punjabi artists, and a 4-week break, and I'm still writing a press release or servicing something. And it was just so funny, just people's perceptions when they thought it when I got married, that she's going to leave the media industry now. Like, no husband will allow their wife to work in a male-dominated industry.
Wow.
And then they thought it again when I had a baby. And I think by Yuvraj they gave up. They all knew, I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly.
And I think they all kind of, but it's just what we're conditioned as, aren't we, South Asians? I think they assume married, she'll settle down, she won't work, and then kids, she'll definitely stop.
Yeah.
And 2 kids on, I'm still here.
I think there is a level of passion that you have, and it's quite obvious when even just talking to you, you can tell there's a level of passion you have just about the media, even if you just slot that bit out. So I don't think you would have ever have thought of leaving, despite all the life changes, right?
No, there have been times.
Okay.
There have been times where you think, bus, it's enough. Like, you know, I've worked with literally every single artist. I've done radio tours. I've done tours in Dubai. I've worked in films. I've done it all. So now I'm going to stop. And then some old friend of yours or in the industry will be like, "Yeah, Nish, I've got a song coming out," and then I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I do it, and then it's a chain. And then the next month you'll get another one saying, "Mine's coming out as well." And then it comes back. It's PR has come back to me twice or three times when I've thought in my mind, like, I have a lot on, like I'll give one thing, you know, a rest. And it keeps coming back to me. So now I just surrender because I think I enjoy it, and the universe keeps bringing it back. So that's I'm nice. Like, let me just do it now.
That's nice that if it satisfies you and you think you can squeeze it into your busy schedule.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I wanted to ask you about the juggle, because I feel like every woman juggles, but as we just kind of talked about, you juggle a lot, including kids, and you were just saying that your kids come everywhere with you, or go everywhere with you, should I say. How did you envisage that would be how you were doing things? You did?
Yeah, 100%. I remember when I started the PR company 2008 with Singers King RDB. That was again a great friend, Serge, who I knew from my partying days, said, "You know, everyone, just send out this song, and it's with Snoop Dogg, it's going to be huge, and just do me a favour, I'll pay you for it." So I said, fine. And then as I got more clients and more clients, I thought, I can see myself doing this and doing it from home, where, you know, when I eventually have kids, because I was like 20 or something then, you know, I can do it with them. But then they really just stuck, and they really do come everywhere with me now. But at some point I had envisaged that this is something I can do from home and be financially independent if I'm not able to do a 9 to 5 or go to work. Because back in those days, we went to the office. There was nothing like work from home or remote working. We didn't have that privilege. So yeah, somewhere, somehow I'd kind of thought this is going to be for my future investment. Like, if it's not a busy time now, maybe I can pick it up at any time. So, yeah.
So when you do actually do your PR things and say something like you said, you know, unexpected, a friend comes over and says, "Oh, I've got this one coming out," as you've just said. Do you feel like you have to be super organised? Or do you think, that's fine, I'll just slot it in?
No, I'm super organised.
Really?
I have to be super organised. Even with my children's timings, when they eat, when they sleep, when they bath, from the day, like from the minute they wake up to the minute they sleep, it's all timed. And I'm not saying our house is some regimental, like, you know, but they naturally know. Okay. Like by 6 o'clock, they know they're going upstairs. They know it's wind down time. They know when it's bath time, I think. Well, it started off with Jasmine, and then Yuvraj kind of followed suit because we already had that routine. But it's very hour to the hour. Like, we don't go out after school Monday to Friday. There's no takeaways. There's no, you know, we'll just go for a drive and pass a bit of time. No, like, I have boundaries with the kids, and that's the only way I can manage work and cleaning and the cooking and everything else that goes around. Is like, I think there's not only a work element, there's also a house maintaining element, and then the uniforms, and then there's dressing up days, and then there's send a cardboard box to school tomorrow morning, and you have to remember all of these things. And then, you know, and then Monday to Friday we don't eat out. It's just a rule in the house. I cook fresh, so I'm cooking. So I kind of slot everything in, and if I don't manage my time, I don't think I'd be able to do anything properly or effectively. And I think so far I'm doing okay. Like, I'm managing everything well. And then, it just becomes a part of your normal daily routine. It's just, we know how we're going to do. Yeah. We're going to do the day. Saturday, Mummy's not cooking. It's off. We can eat out. But Monday to Friday, no. They stay after school, they're home. So they have clubs or after school clubs, but that's it.
I'm listening to you and I'm just thinking, you seem like that kind of person. Obviously, like I've said, I've known you for ages, but this is actually the first time we've met in person. But I have known, like I said, in inverted commas, you for ages. And thinking about this, as you say, it's not a regiment, but this is just how it works in your household. How do you feel that, whether it does or whether it doesn't, do you think any of that kind of impacts your mental health? Or do you think that the fact that you have got boundaries helps your mental health, because you've got that peace of mind that, okay, I'm done like this. I know that this is happening at this time.
Okay. That's a really good question, because we laugh at, my school mums always laugh, like, you'd go crazy in our house, Nisha. Like, we have kids running around at 8 o'clock with underpants on their heads.
Oh, God.
They haven't had their bath yet, and they're, we're still figuring out what to cook. 7 o'clock, my kids are in bed. And once they're in bed, and Jasmine now is old enough to read or do an activity, youth will probably sleep. That's my clock off time from parenthood.
Yeah.
And that's me done, and then I can then pick up a laptop and write a press release, or service a song, or chase some people who want interviews for my clients. That's my time again, and I enjoy it, because I enjoy my work. It's not stressful. It's not something I hate doing. I don't ever regret thinking, oh God, I need to do this today. I enjoy it because it's part of me, and I've committed a service to the client, and we need to make it happen. And some releases are easy, where people will come to you and say, I'll interview your artist, and in our industry we still have some people who don't even reply, so you have to manually chase them. So that's my post 7 p.m. activity for mummy with a coffee, and it works for me. And I think having boundaries helps me know that, okay, I've got an hour to go, and then I've got a bit of peace and quiet, and then I do my 9 to 5, which is as normal when the kids are at school.
How did you find that? Obviously, this is obviously for the last few years you've got married and you've had 2 children, but even before that time, how did you find that journey in the media? Was it ad hoc in terms of, did you end up working long days because of that? Or did you, again, become a little bit like, my boundaries are this, and this is what I'm going to stick to?
I've always had a full-time job. When I was doing my PR, when I set up the PR, I was working for Al Jazeera News in London, okay, as a TV producer when I started. And the work would come in as and when, and it would be executed as and when. And then as it became more and more, I've never been the one to tout for work. So I've never rang singers and said, like, hey,
yeah,
how are you? Do you want me to do anything? Usually work has always come to me, and it's been pretty simple. Again, I've always had a routine, because I've always worked and then balanced other work around it. I've always had a routine. Like, I love writing at night. So I remember when I wasn't married, and I'd stay up till like 1, 2 o'clock writing my press releases, or a random script or something on my mind. And I remember my dad coming out like, go to bed. But I love being alone at night. It's just something I've always loved. And obviously now with kids and the routine, I don't stay up so late. But I've always managed it well. And again, it's always been a structure to the day. I used to train 6 days a week as well. So that was another thing I'd add in, which I don't do with the kids now. And I'm going to let it slip for a bit, because it's okay. That time can come. But right now, my kids they need me more.
Yeah, I understand that. Do you think the training, this is another mental health question actually, because a lot of people have said, when I've kind of asked previous guests about how they maintain good mental health, a lot of people have said exercise. So obviously if you were training 6 days a week, part of that must have been because of the mental kind of, I guess, wellness that came along with it. Or was it?
Training for me is the best thing. I could skip to the gym. Wow. I just haven't for the past 4 months. I love training when my earpods are in and my music is on. And I went down 17 kilos.
Wow.
Before the kids, before my marriage actually, just from training, and then developed a love for healthy eating. And I didn't eat rice for 5 years, and chips.
Oh, wow.
McDonald's chips. I just didn't want it.
I was going to say, did you have a craving at any point?
No, I became this my body is a temple kind of person. It needs to come back to me, Amrita. But we'll get there slowly. But, training for me was a massive part of my mental health. I think that's why I went into it, because I was at breaking point with a lot of things. The pressures of getting married, being in a male-dominated industry, and what you have to hear from people, and the backlash of, oh, she's never going to get married if she's in this industry with all these boys around her. And the funniest thing is, my parents were never the one who had the issue. It was never my family. It was never my brother. It was always my outer community or family. And I think I was so fed up. I started the gym, and then obviously you start seeing you're losing weight, and you know your clothes fit better, and then you look even better, and then you think, I want to go and do more, and then and it became a part of life. I trained with both pregnancies actually, but with Jasmine's I was stricter, but I was running at 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, light jogging at 8 months, weightlifting. Yuvi was a COVID baby, so I was doing a lot of home workouts, but still continued to go to the gym. And then this year has been my, okay, I just need to put the gym to the side at the moment. But I do need to go back. I know the day I go back, I will feel a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
And actually my body needs the gym. I almost feel if you've trained for a long time, if you don't train, your body hurts more.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, you know, you just need to stretch it all out and just let it all out. But yeah, maybe after this podcast I'll go to the gym.
I mean, I'm not sure whether we can help you there, but
well, you might motivate me.
Yeah, some inspiration.
Yeah.
Let's think about that. I was going to ask you, actually, just going back to the point about feeling pressures about marriage. It is, I feel like in our community, in the British Asian community, or even just the Asian community, because obviously our parents' generation are not all from Britain, in inverted commas, I feel like that pressure is still there, but I don't know whether it's me. I feel like it's slightly gone down slightly, but there is obviously the community feel of, oh my God, she's in her 30s or 40s, hasn't found anyone. Did it really come down to people thinking it's because of the industry you were in, or was it just generally?
Oh God.
What a question.
I've heard it all. I've heard, oh, she's not going to get married because her Instagram is too fancy.
Oh my God.
She's not going to get married because she's around too many boys. That can't be good for your health. Does she even want to get married?
Oh my God. Yeah. It's a valid question.
And then I've had, you know, back in the day I was very heavy on social media and where I'm going and coffees and lunch. So for every time I'd be like, oh, en route to London, my family members used to call my mum and be like, she's going to London again. She'll never get married. So I'm like,
oh my God.
Mum, I'm going for work. Hello.
Yeah.
Like, we have to travel. There was an immense pressure. My marriage or not getting married became the biggest drama for the community. And it really wasn't a big deal. And they had hyped up the issue so much.
Yeah.
That anywhere, if I go to the temple, it would be, so she's not going to get married, or, you know, pointing at random boys like, he's nice. I'm like, no, he's not.
I love that.
No thanks. Or, you know, numbers were given to my mum, and then I'd be texting them, and we'd meet for a coffee. And the amount of clowns I met in the, you know, now looking back, I think it was all a learning journey, and I am glad I went through it to get to where I am today, because I think if I'd got married a little bit younger, I would have still wanted more from my career. I think I'd got to a level in my career where I'd done a movie, I'd film produced, I'd been a BBC journalist, I had done the music PR, I'd lived in Dubai, I'd pretty much done everything. So now when I look back, I don't have any regrets in life. And I think that's one thing I want women to understand, that don't regret it. Don't think marriage is the be-all and end-all of your life. Because I'll tell you, when I got married, I met my husband January the 9th, 2017. His uncle rang me at 6 o'clock, my dad, to say, we think we might have somebody who Nisha might like. And I thought, oh God, here it goes again. And I've just come from the gym, and I've literally been for a jog. So I said, what do I do, Dad? Do I put a suit on? Do I cover my head? And my dad is just a Jan. He was like, no, you are as you are.
Yeah.
And you stay like that. But I was like, no, I'll go take a quick shower at least, because I've just been running. And he came in, and within 20 minutes I knew I was going to marry him.
Wow. That almost sounds like a story from like our parents' generation. You just knew.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds very Bollywood.
I just said one thing to him, and I just said I was being me, and I was like, yeah, I work in films and I do this and I have a really busy life, and giving it 10. And he just said, you've got great experience in life.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no reaction.
That's good. I think that's a good... Yeah, that's a really good reaction, to be fair.
No questions of, do you know Amrita Bachchan? Because I've had all sorts, like, can you get me free concert tickets? Can I get his autograph? Can you video call this singer? Oh, I'm actually trying to be a videographer. Can you get me work? Like, I always get a back question, and I was expecting something. And that's all he said. And I thought, oh my God, he's the only man who can literally put me down in 1 second and be like, great. And, you know, that's what your work is, but what are you about? And I remember, and he came to our house as well. So this is like a arranged marriage setting, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so his aunt was like, is it a yes? Is it a yes? And I was
to him or to both
both
of you? Oh.
And he, bless him, so polite, said yes. And to me, and I was like, just shrugged my shoulders. And then my dad stepped in and stalled it and said, let them meet, let them get to know each other, and we'll get back to you. A week on, I was in Paris, we spoke every day, and my dad rang saying, is it a yes or a no? Because they're really on it and they want to know. And my friend Biba, who's a psychiatrist from New York, she was travelling with me, she'd also been speaking to him all week, and she said, and she grabbed the phone and she said it's the best decision she'd make. So it's a yes from us. And that's how we got married. That was exactly it. And I texted a restaurant friend of mine, she's got an Indian restaurant. I said, it's a my rukka next week for this many people. And she was like, you're just texting me random, like it's my rukka. And that's how we got married. 3 months on, we just got married. And we've never looked back. And it was and not one person who was so concerned about my marriage actually ever rang till date, and I've been married 8 years, to even ask, like, are you okay? Are you happy? It was all just... So this is why, don't succumb to the pressure, because when it's right for you, it happens, and it happens at a point where it's right for the time and what you've done in your career. I think if you pressurise marriage, and to the younger girls, like, we have to do it because everybody's doing it, you might really regret your decision. And I know, looking back, if I had said yes to any of the people I'd met, I would have not been in the place I am right now. So I do believe it was a blessing in disguise. But the pressures are there. And I think now I see my nieces and nephews who were like 27, 28. No one asks them where...
Yeah, this is what I was saying, yeah.
Why? Why did I get it all?
I think it's really weird. I don't know if this is just my perception, but I feel like COVID changed a lot. I feel like people kind of... the outlook has changed. Even though the pressure is still there, it's almost like it's more acceptable in the world that we live in 2024 for a woman or someone, it doesn't have to be a female, to remain single until they're ready, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like now, and I feel... somebody say something, like, it's a family party, let's start the conversation.
Are you going to be that person?
No, well, I am now that person, a little bit annoying. Like, if I see my niece and I'm like, when are you getting married? They're like, oh, we haven't got anyone. And then we say, okay, and that's it. We'd never then say, because she's a pharmacist, she won't get married.
Yeah.
It's always the fingers point towards the media. I just think it's so sad for the girls that are in that situation, and boys. A lot of my best friends that are not married, and they're looking and they're trying and they're not being able to find the right partner. It is so frustrating.
Tell me about it.
And it can take such a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
And everything else to go around that, because it's not only finding... See, I'm a firm believer, it's not about what the guy's bank balance is, it's what about you, how you can grow together. Because when me and my husband met, like, we were not financially stable. Like, families were fine, but from our work, you know, how stable were we? He said to me, give me 10 years. It's our 8th year. And I believed in him.
Yeah.
And I think some young girls these days are all about the sushi sambas and the posh. It's like, that's not what marriage is.
Yeah.
You know, when your child's crying at 3 a.m. with colic, is someone going to be awake with you?
Yeah. And
looking after you, or saying, I'll make you a coffee, you handle baby. Because that's the real essence of life. But I think people, they're going to say what they're going to say, and you just have to react to it the way you want to and what suits you.
But it's really nice to hear that you can look back now and, like you said, like laugh about it in a way. But also there is, I guess, that niggling frustration that, hold on, I was just living my life. I was just making the most of my careers and just getting on with it as you know best, right?
Yeah.
I think there's another an avenue to that is, I feel like in our communities, when a girl isn't married, there's some blame put on the parents, and I feel that's really unfair.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time it has nothing to do with the parents, right?
Yeah.
It's about the girl themselves.
It's funny because a lot of people used to say to my mum, "Why do you allow her to do it?"
Yeah, this is what I mean.
I'm 30 years old. I don't need anybody to allow me to do anything. But my dad has always, he's the type, my mum and dad both have always said it's our decision. And I was the type of person, if, you know, when I was managing Veena Malik, if she'd ring and say, "There's an event tomorrow, like, can you fly out?" I would say, "Dad, I'm going to Dubai tomorrow." He'd be like, "All right." They know I'm going for work, I'm getting paid to do a job, and that's the freedom I had in my family. I was never a family that, you know, we can't go out, we can't speak. My parents are, till date, like, super friendly with us. We can say anything to them, and they've always supported. My mum has always been, like, a huge factor. She didn't understand the industry I was in the start, but she kind of grew to understand and know, and they love it. They love going to all the concerts front row and meeting all the celebrities.
Facts of the job.
They shouldn't have any problems, really. They've had a whale of a time with me. They've been on loads of shows and concerts, and I think they're proud. I think that, you know, when they see credits or film credits with my name in, I think there's a deep down a pride, because I've always been the odd one out in my family. You know, brother's a doctor, sister's got a master's, and then there was me. So what does she want to do? Does she ever want to get married? But yeah, you know, family supported me, and I think that's so important for girls and boys in today's day and age, to have that family support.
That's nice. I was going to ask you about your journey in media as a woman. Obviously, you've said there are perks to the job, but obviously to get to those perks, you've worked so hard in the background for a number of years. Obviously, you said did you start off as a BBC journalist when you got into the media? Okay, so I would like to think that back then that was quite a weird, not weird, but I don't know what the word is, the kind of environment that maybe you just need to find your feet in. And then go from there. How did you find it when you first came in, being a woman as well, in that environment? As you said, you did work in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah, so I didn't study first. I didn't know a BBC journalist was even a job.
Okay.
Or being in the media was also a job. I think when I was younger, I loved music. I loved film. I was absolutely mesmerised by films and songs, and it was always on in my house. So when I got my first job, it was an intern for Mellors, so summer Mellors at the BBC. So I did that for the summer, and I loved it. And the summer season ended, and I was gutted. I was like, I really don't want to leave this place. And I started working in the office, freelancing, and then I remember I've had a lot of people guide me the correct way. I think I've been very lucky. So a very senior journalist, Paminda Katkar, she said, "You're really good at your job, but I can't pay you to be a journalist until you go and do your journalism degree. So do you want to do it?" So I said, yeah. So she booked me in a place, and she said, "This is the fees, go and pay it." So I rang my dad, and then £6,500, Dad, thanks. And he said, yeah, take it. Then I graduated, then I became a journalist, and the journey was, the BBC journey was quite smooth because it was a job in 9 to 5. Within the industry, when I started growing, and there was a point where I was working with Bunty Bains, Desi Crew, a lot of the Punjabi singers from Punjab that were really all getting number ones in the iTunes charts, and everybody accused me, "Oh, she must be rigging it."
Really?
I was like, I don't even know anybody from iTunes.
Oh my God.
And I remember there were lots of comments, never made directly to me, but to the artist or to, you know, the producer, or the dance choreographer, somebody attached to the song, that how is she getting every song at number one? Not possible. But genuinely, do you remember those days when you used to buy and then you used to see the charts, and we'd all monitor the charts, and it was just genuinely, I was good at my job, and I was churning out hit after hit. Yeah, we've had lots of ups and downs in this industry.
I was going to say that because in the years that I've been in the industry, I feel like you've touched on it slightly. I feel like there's always going to be people who try to step on your territory in the nicest way possible that anyone can take that phrase. But I think there is a level of respect that we need to have for each other that is a little bit lacking sometimes. And I think sometimes that is between women. And I know that I don't mean to kind of just pinpoint women, but I've experienced it myself when someone has tried to, you know, like, not get in the way, but almost get in the way of something I was doing just because they wanted their part of it to be, in inverted commas, better. But why? I also feel the same as you, that there's space for everyone. If you're good at what you do, it will shine regardless. That's how I feel. It will shine regardless. Someone will pick it up somewhere. The person themselves might have met 16 journalists and might remember you when you put out whatever you've got. But I just don't understand where the insecurity of, oh, that person's got that, I want it, comes from. And I think it is an Asian media thing.
I don't know. I think I've done too much in this industry to be insecure.
Yeah, this is it.
And I mean, if I tell you, and if let's look back to journalism, what was journalism 20 years ago? There was no Facebook, there was no Instagram,
there was no social media,
there was no Twitter. When training to be a BBC local journalist, they used to set you a task. You've got 20 minutes, walk around the city centre and find a story. I am telling you, even if the windmill was stuck in a village, in a small farm, that was a story.
Yeah.
And we had to go and find that. And when people like Imtiaz Ali, who's a huge director, was my insider of Bollywood.
Oh, wow.
Because I produced the Raj and Pablo Bollywood show, which is how I know you, Amrita.
Yeah.
And every week we needed stories. So I befriended the lovely Imtiaz Ali and Bosco, the choreographer.
Yeah.
So I'd ring them every Friday and I'd be like, hey, I didn't want bad gossip. I just wanted who's filming, where are they, so I could write my script for the show. So Imtiaz would be like, yeah, Karina's in Pune and I'm in Punjab for 6 days. I'm doing a recce. And then Bosco would say, oh, I'm going to Portugal for a dance, I don't know, with Hrithik Roshan. That was 3 stories. That was my script sorted. And they were the nicest people that when Imtiaz came here and he came to do the recce for, what's a UK film? Cocktail. No, that wasn't his. Was that his?
I think it was. I can't remember.
After Jab we met. No, and we twist. Love Ajgal.
Love Ajgal. I'm trying to think. It was a Saif Ali Khan film.
Love Ajgal. And he rang me, he said, I'm filming, it's Sunday, we're in Café de Paris, come down. And I went down and Saif Ali Khan sitting there. And then Bosco's there. I was like, are you 2 friends? He's like, yeah, we always laugh because we know you're going to call us on Friday. So we used to think up 3 things because that's what you want from us. So when you've stayed in this industry so long, Amrita, how would I ever not welcome anybody else in? I helped these new younger talents or journalists or whatever, or PR even. I'm more than happy, to give work, to share work, but never ever has it been that I've ever tried to take anybody's work or tout for work. It's just not my kind of thing.
I think it is. I feel like it is different to be a woman in the media, though, right? Because it is male dominated, and you have to make your mark, or you have to create an impression, I guess, when you get to a certain place, in order for people to remember you or form some sort of relationship with you. Did you find that at any point challenging to? I know, obviously, you've had media experience of so many years, but just when you were starting or when you wanted to make that mark in a certain place, what were the challenges? Did you find it challenging?
It's all been so natural.
Okay.
I think if I look at my journey, it's all been so natural. I haven't ever had to make a place. There was kind of a place already there for me and I kind of just slotted in. Because when I started doing PR, there was 2 other very good PR companies in London, female-led. They're not around now, I don't think, but they were brilliant. And I love that they never got involved with me and I never got involved with them, and they did their thing, I did mine, and mine was a whole new niche of Punjabi music PR. It wasn't film, it wasn't Bollywood. So there have been women that have been in the industry and just allowed you to do your thing, but I've never had to fight for a space or, even my singer clients. And what I'm saying, when you're managing Punjabi singers, like, you have to be really strong with them. Like, if you say you've got a breakfast interview at 9 o'clock in London, that doesn't mean you leave your house at midday.
Yeah.
You know? So I will put my alarm on at 6 and I will say, have you left? I remember Roach Killer this December when it was snow and he had a breakfast interview, and I said, you've got to be there on time, Roach. Yeah. Done. No, 6 o'clock he sent me a video. Boss, I'm leaving.
Oh, that's nice.
You have to manage that personality. You have to, but people say you're bossy, have to be.
Yeah.
If they scare me or if I get intimidated, I can't manage the project. I cannot. So that bossiness that I have, I think naturally I just felt very safe in my job, and I know I was good at it. I know I'm still good at it, and I didn't feel insecure towards anyone or anything. I was kind of very focused on my path and what I want to do. I never look left, right. Who else is doing Punjabi music PR or I'm very bad with gossip. Nobody tells me anything. Either they just think that I'm going to end up telling someone, or they just think she's got no time to listen to us, so don't tell her. But people, my artists sometimes will do me a little bit of a gossip session. Do you know this person or that person started a PR company? And I'm like, really? Good luck
to them. Yeah.
I really haven't got any time to make any comments. So I've always been very focused. I'm very comfortable in my path, and I think the job suits me. I think I've done a good job of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You definitely have done a good job of it. As far as I remember you all these years. Have there been any personality traits, like you said, you had to be bossy? Were there any personality traits that you had to hone in on and be like, okay, I have to be like this, otherwise this isn't going to work? Like, not sometimes consciously, but just to develop in your own kind of position, or to do PR?
No, not consciously. I think the organisation came a lot when the PR came, because it was managing schedules, managing times, managing other people's diaries and lives as well, right? But in terms of my personality, I think how I was as a youngster, when everyone has a personality and they're like, oh, she's the bossy one, she's the quiet one, she's this, she's that. I think that personality trait kind of came out as I got into the industry.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm so headstrong. I may be so bossy, but I'm the most emotional and weakest person inside. And that's me. Yeah. I am very sensitive.
I never knew that.
I am very sensitive. My mom actually rang me the other day, and funny, so it was a story from the past that somebody had commented on me saying something, and she said, but Nisha, people have such a bad perception of you because they think she's this strong-willed, bossy, chatty. I'm not a lot of people get to me, but when it gets me, I'm very sensitive. I'm a crier.
Really?
I can cry for hours, dude. I can cry and cry.
Wow.
Like, if it gets me.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I can, but I do live by that. I don't need to answer back. I don't need to prove myself to anybody. Or sometimes my mom will say, this person said this, or this family member, you need to set them straight or set the record straight. I'm like, why will I set the record straight? Why?
Yeah,
they said no it. Need. They thought it. I am busy. I need to pick up the kids. End of story. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I don't need to have anyone's validation that she's a nice girl or she is a nice person. I know I am. I don't need people to tap me on the back and say, thank you did this for us. I know I did it. I did it. You didn't appreciate it. And I washed it off.
I'm laughing because I feel like this is such an easy thing for you to say. Not in a horrible way, but it's such an easy thing for a strong-willed woman to say. And I totally agree with your mum that people don't see it as being strong-willed. They put all different kind of negative connotations onto that just because a woman is strong.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that happens. It's not just in the Asian community. It can be in a normal corporate workplace. Mm-hmm. If a woman is strong-willed and has a boundary or is very strong in her position and solid and everything, she's difficult. That's what you get. She's difficult. And I think you're right. You should just be comfortable in that.
I am.
Exactly.
It's fine.
I love that.
You don't like it, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. No one needs to like it.
I don't need to explain why I'm like... It took me years to be like this.
Yeah.
It took me years of bad comments and negativity and hurt and deception and betrayal. Not from males. From female friends too. From people that have been very close to me, who my family has helped. So for now, I think if I can give so much and get nothing in return, but still be okay, and God keeps giving me, then it's okay. Then I am this way. And I'm very happy. In my house, we do not gossip. We do not talk. Me and my husband have a rule. We'll never argue about a third person in the house. Your mom said this, your dad said this, your sister said this. It's okay. If they said it to me, I keep it to me. I will deal with it. I can deal with it myself. I don't need anybody's backing. And he never brings in a third person's negativity. Even if he brings in a work person's, like, oh, this, we'll solve the situation, but then the book's closed.
I love that.
Don't dwell.
Yeah.
It's just, I have wasted far too much energy in my life, Amrita, crying and being, again, aside, now I'm telling you that crying and being sad and feeling hurt and feeling used, that now I am at a place that I am who I am, and I have boundaries and I have rules. And after the kids, I became more selfish because they had to see a strong mummy. They couldn't see a mummy who was upset one day and happy the next. And, now they see I have really let things... I'm so detached from people. Family even. I love seeing them at a family party and I love catching up, but that's it.
That's good, because I feel like there's a level of consistency that you're kind of talking about there, that you are consistent in all areas with all people in a way.
Yeah, I don't want one person to say, you rang me every week and then you didn't ring me this week.
Yeah.
And I set that boundary again with in-laws. They were in India. I was here. Gaurav used to say, ring them. I said, I can't ring them every day. If I ring them every day for a week,
expectation,
and next week I'm busy, they'll be upset.
Yeah.
So let's set a boundary where every other day or every, once a week, we can ring. And I set that. So there's no space for any, unpleasant feelings that she's not ringing anymore. I have a great relationship with my in-laws. My mother-in-law is like the coolest person, and she's like, I cannot understand that you're my daughter-in-law because you don't act your age. She when I'm at home and she stays with us, she's in San Francisco at the moment. I will say to her, "Mom, I'm hungry. Can you make me roti?" She's like a mom. She's not a mother-in-law, but it's because I'm so open with her. And again, I am who I am, and they've kind of accepted that. Like, it's just the way she is, So boundaries is really important, and then setting yourself, being okay with yourself is so important.
I think there's a level of acceptance that you're kind of also talking about there, that you've accepted in yourself the kind of things that you've been through and all the journey up until now, personal, professional, whatever it might be. You've come to a place where you are just accepting of yourself and no one else can change it. And I think that's such a strong place to be. Yeah. I feel like I need to say I'm proud of you. I think that's a journey that every woman, I think, should definitely go on.
I'm proud of me.
Oh, good. I'm glad you are.
I'm proud of me, because I think this is like, obviously we're not, a lot of things I wouldn't say on camera, but off camera. It's been such a long journey that I think, why should I be, it's like what that actress said, it's Chintu in Chandigarh, if they are saying things to me, why should I be bothered? Like, why is... That's their trauma, and for me, it's my mom, my dad, and my kids and my husband. That's it. They need to be with me. They need to be secure and safe. And they are the people that I need to make happy. Absolutely. Nobody else. And yeah, it's been a long journey to get here. If I sound like, I'm giving a lecture today, it's not because I'm high and mighty. It's because it's taken me a really long time to get to this place.
Do you think that it's because you've had a journey where you've also healed from a lot of stuff?
100%.
This is why healing is important.
100%.
I keep saying this to everyone, but I think it takes a certain kind of person, because healing also means being vulnerable in yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to I think sometimes understand that it could be the conditioning that you have in your family or with your friends or whatever, or it could just be that you are not accepting of yourself.
Yeah.
I think I think as women, we do find that really hard, just prioritizing and accepting ourselves.
Yeah, and
it's tough.
What are we accepting? What people want us to accept? What are we accepting? Because at some point when girls are being raised in our generation, it was, you study, uni, you get married, you have kids. And I seriously thought by 25 I would have a house, be married, with kids. And yeah, of course,
yeah, I think
that's what everybody wants, right? So when I turned 21,
age.
I was like to my grandma, like, bring the rishtas on, man. Like, I want to get married.
Wow, that's early.
That's it. I've studied. I'm an August born, so I was the youngest. So I graduated at 20.
Okay.
So then I turned 21
in that summer.
Yeah. So I was young, and sorry. So I was really for like the marriage, and you get and this done 30 kids, 40 house sorted, 60 retirement, and like life's not like that.
No, you can't plan.
Life's not like that. And I think I was so disappointed when I realised life wasn't like that. Because it's you're kind of, I think we've all come from similar families where it's like you do good, you get good. You work hard, you get your grades, you get married. And then you don't interact with those people. In life, everybody doesn't come across the same level of people. Some people are not nice. Some people do have agendas. Some people do want to hurt you. Or so I've come full circle. Now I feel like it's not about anyone. I'm at that point where, Amrita, where people that have hurt me, even if they came and knocked on my door and literally sat outside all day apologizing to me that I did wrong and I'm sorry, I'm like, I'm busy, dude. I really don't have time for this.
You just moved on. That's basically what it is.
I would not bring that baggage into my life again.
Yeah.
Or that trauma. And yes, as when you say healed, I'm healing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's healed. I don't think ever as people you'll fully heal. I think it's like the Japanese art, right? It's cracked and put together, but it's never perfect.
Yeah.
I'm imperfectly perfect, and I'm okay with that.
I love that. Love it. Such a good note to end on as well. Thank you so much, Nisha. I feel like that's been a really... I don't know, I think it's been a really nice conversation to hear all sides of your life in a way about where you are now and where you were all those years ago when you first began.
I love it. Thank you. In depth in a podcast or any interview, but it's been.
No, thank you. I appreciate everything you've shared. I think there's a lot of wealth, I guess, in all the thoughts that you've shared and everything that you've shared that I think will help a lot of people.
I hope so.
Hopefully, those who are listening. I'm going to start the this or that section to light-heart it again, because I feel like we did get a bit intense there at the end. But I like that because that shows you. I like it. Thank you. Right, so this or that. Are you ready?
I don't know what you're going to say.
They're not.
Let me readjust.
They're not. They're not major questions. Okay. But if you feel like explaining your reasoning, you can. You don't have to.
Okay.
Cool. Are you ready?
Alrighty.
Shoes or bags?
Ooh, bags.
Oh, wow. Okay. Moon or sun?
Moon.
Nighttime. Night owl, just like me. Planning the future or living spontaneously?
Planning the future.
Wow. I didn't think you said that after the last thing you said about life doesn't work out like
No, you have to plan a future.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Inner peace or worldly influence?
Inner peace. Where I'm at right now. Yeah.
Peace from within. Introvert or extrovert?
Both, actually. As you would have discovered on this podcast. Both.
Okay, last one. Glass half empty or glass half full?
Always half full.
Aha, that's nice.
Always.
Thank you. That was so rapid. I feel like I did a rapid fire rather than a
Was I meant to answer more? Was I meant to
No, I like it, because sometimes we end up going off on a tangent just to explain the answer, and you didn't, and I love that.
No.
I love it. Nisha, where do we find you on social media if anyone wants to find you?
Yeah, so it's Nisha Sahdev, Sahdev, and you'll see my nice selfie. That doesn't look like me now because I haven't changed it for about 6 years. But cool. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok.
Okay. Amazing. So Instagram is the place to find Nisha. Nisha, thank you so much. Are there any final thoughts you have, or anything you'd like to say at the end?
No, just thank you so much. I'm so proud of you, Amrita, because I've known you for so long, and nearly 20 years.
Yeah,
but it's a bit crazy that we're just meeting. But just doing this podcast and being there and having something of yours, I want to say congratulations to you as well.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you so much. You got to be proud of each other, you see.
Sister
it's
power.
One love. I'm going to start singing Blue in a minute. One love. Thank you so much for listening. This is Amrita signing out. Of course, you can find us on Voice It Out Podcast on Instagram. That's the main place that we are active. If you want to get in touch with us, it's voiceitoutpodcast@gmail.com. And we don't want to keep it in. We want to voice it out.